So, welcome to,
Did you
oh
forget
my,
the name of your show?
yeah, I'm forgetting everything. I'm like, what should I talk about? Should I talk about my podcast? Should I talk about my YouTube? Yeah. So here,
So
I guess
you will
starting,
be doing a little editing on that. So
yes, yes, we will. Yes. Okay. So I would like to wish a warm welcome to Barbara Banner. I have a special guest today, and she is a certified psychic and trance medium, helping grieving families with sessions that she describes are as spiritually powerful as they are unexpectedly humorous. So I recently watched your interview on the popular Next Level Soul podcast, which right now has over 375,000 views. And I
who
remember
knew?
I know it's amazing. And so you were mentioning to me that, your team brings in humor and funny evidence to help raise vibrations and open up pathways to clients' own connection and awareness. So I would love to just start by hearing more about your humorous spirit guides, how they actually, if you have some concrete examples that you can share with the audience on how your team specifically brings humor into your sessions.
Well, we keep our essence when we go on the other side. So if your spouse or child had a big sense of humor, they're going to come in. They're going to come in with that. I told some woman, I said, look, there is a man coming in here and he's playing the clarinet and he's throwing that over and then he's getting on the bongos and he's doing flips. I said, do you have any idea who that is? She goes, yeah, that's my husband. He's a musician. And so instead of just coming in and saying there's somebody, I hear music or whatever, they make it like technicolor. They make it so rich with little details. I just had I just had a woman. Uh, I just had a reading, and I told the woman, I said, "Your brother said stop walking over my pennies and bend down and pick them up." And I said, "Well, he's And she goes, "I was in the casino last night, and there was a penny in front of me, and I was walking over it, and I thought, well." For 1 millisecond, I thought, gee, maybe it's a sign or something. But and she just walked on. So he's telling her, stop it, don't walk over. And now she's got like jugs of pennies, but and little things. And they've also done something very unusual that I don't think anybody's had. Um, I had like 25 uh, sessions booked on the same day at the same hour. It's technically impossible. And everyone's calling me and saying, I didn't make this reservation. I don't have that. I'm not ready yet. And everybody, and one woman said, look, in the message window, it had the name of my housekeeper. You don't know the name of my housekeeper. Well, how did this happen? And all of a sudden, of course, they put it into my head. Is there a reason your housekeeper might need a reading? And she said, oh my God, her son died 3 days ago. Every person on that list had a reason or a message that they needed. And my guys just said, hey, so I said, hey, you guys want to book sessions for me? Go ahead. But, just not all at the same time. So they've pulled a lot of things on me. And they say that spirit, that you get teamed up with the right spirit for a mediumship, that spirit picks who gets who. So I think they're like pulling out the people who have a sense of humor or who really need it. I'm as compassionate as I am humorous from what they give me. So it's just got to trust. So yeah, they give me, one grandmother in spirit told her granddaughter. She said, the granddaughter was saying, she could need some money, to do something around the house. And the grandmother says, go do some phone sex if you want money. And I thought, I just said, I didn't say that. I had nothing to do with that. It just came out of my mouth. And she said, that is a running joke with me and my husband, that, you want a new couch, go do phone sex. And she said, it's just like my grandmother to say that. So their essence comes out. And so if they have a funny essence, Spirit's going to work with them and me to make it so that they know it's them,
Yeah.
The church lady can't come out and someone would say, she wasn't like that, She came out smoking a cigarette and with a glass of gin and tonic in one hand. That's my grandmother. Okay. So just try to keep it real for them.
Yes. Yeah, I love that you were talking actually about the signs, the specific signs, and like about and noticing the pennies, because this is the number one question I wanted to ask you. Was currently one of my most popular episodes is called Divine Signs: How to Recognize Life's Hidden Messages. And I want you to explain a little bit more of maybe some divine signs that you experience with your sessions.
Well, first of all, I don't believe there's any hidden signs. It's just the person is not aware enough or doesn't believe enough to notice them. And also, when you are in deep grief, it is so difficult for Spirit to, lower their vibration, and for you to raise yours. It's like cement in there. And that's what's holding you back from understanding this. And a lot of religious beliefs can also come in to keep you like, that's not happening. Okay, that's impossible. So it's really ourselves that are our own worst enemies, if you want to say, in understanding that. How many times can a feather fall on my head when the door opens and me not, hello, it's a sign. So we have to believe. And, the saying, seeing is believing. I say, believing is seeing. Okay. You have to change your mindset. I had a woman who a little skeptical. No, a lot skeptical. Okay. And I let her know her husband came in the middle of the night, and he showed me a half a bagel, and that was scooped out. And I called her and I said, look, your husband came. I just have to tell you what it is. It sounds pretty crazy. And she goes, a bagel, scooped out bagel, that means nothing to us. Everyone who's on watching their weight scoops out their bagel. I said, okay, just saying, okay, just push it down. 4 days later, I get an email from her. I brought, because her husband had passed and she had a 13-year-old daughter. I get an email saying, I went to my father-in-law's house and he said, I invented a product. And he said, wait there. I have a prototype. So he brings it out and he says, do you have any idea what this is? Very proud. She goes, I have no idea. He said, it's a bagel scooper. Everybody fell off their chairs. And there just comes a time when you just have to suspend your suspicions or your feelings. Like you have to just be open. And if you're open and read a few books, about signs and NDEs and everything else, and if you open your awareness, and if you try to pivot from that deep grief to the feelings of love, which open them up, you can do it. Everybody has the ability to do this. It's whether you want to put in the work or not. Nobody wants to meditate.
No one wants to what? Meditate?
Nobody wants to meditate. Okay. There's always an excuse. I don't have time.
Yeah.
That's the number one way. Okay. I'm a student of Suzanne Giesemann. Meditation is your entree to the other side.
I love that. Well, can you speak more about meditation as an entree to this
Yes.
lifestyle? Yeah.
When I say you got to meditate, well, it doesn't really work for me. Da, da, da. I said, look, and one of the big things people always say is that I can't clear my mind. My mind's too busy. I said, okay, go on YouTube. It's free, and go pick a guided meditation to talking to your loved ones. And I also give all my clients a resources page which has guided meditation so that you see your son at the end of it, and all sorts of things and ways to connect on your own. And I'm happy to give that to any of your viewers who want that as well. Where was I? The
Power of
Yes,
meditation.
do a guided meditation. And if you follow along, and I always say, I like doing it when I get into bed and my everything's, everything's shut down anyway. I'm not worrying about, do I have to pick up that, you know, the bakery order or anything. Just go, even if you're groggy, put it in your ears. And if you fall asleep, it's okay. It goes into your subconscious. But just, you gotta try. Nobody wakes up and says, oh, well, some people do actually, and say, I'm talking to the other side. That is really rare. It takes a lot of practice and patience to do that. And it takes a lot of practice and patience in meditation as well. No one's getting on their first time when they never wanted to meditate and having a conversation with Uncle Louie. It's not going to happen. You have to work at it.
And so I love this topic. Yeah, I've been doing
You
meditation.
have, of course, you are, of course, filled with juju, not only from your own work, but from interviewing everybody who's, helped you along.
Well, yeah, I've been like meditating for many years, these 10-day silent retreats. And for me, I this completely like reprogrammed my brain. Like I was a very angry. People see me, I offer wellness retreats and rejuvenation retreats, and people see me as one way. And I was like, no, I was a very miserable, anxious, angry person. And meditation helped me get out of that. And so I describe myself personally as more of an intuitive, but I would never define myself as a medium. And so what is maybe the difference between the kind of intuitive life, because I feel very connected to signs and synchronicities and my
Well,
grandmother and all of these things, but I would never define myself or call myself a medium.
I would say, if I had to give a definition, which you're making me do, if it was a medium can bring spirit in on call, and who you want. The first thing I ask a client is who do you want as your first person, and what is their connection to you? That's the new thing that I learned at Arthur Finley in one of my residencies there. So that's the new way. So that's what I do, because Tony Stockwell said everybody's there to talk to somebody. Nobody's coming in just to see who shows up. There's somebody in their mind that they really hope to see. Just give it to them instead of wasting time for Aunt Lulabelle to come in and you've only met her once. Okay, give them what they want. And so I'm a cut to the chase kind of girl, as you could tell from my next level soul.
But how did you first decipher, when you had this awakening of kind of like, wow, I'm a medium, of
Oh, I
maybe,
didn't just awake and say I'm a medium. I didn't
okay,
know what the hell was going on. There was lights flashing, fans going, orbs all over my videos because I used to go out for commercials. I mean, the place was lit up. Things were flying off the shelves. I said, okay, spirit is calling. I need to answer that. And it was I just said, I'm taking a class and seeing what it's about. And I hung a shingle in 7 months. That's what I was meant to do. It was so evident. And then I found out that, my grandmother had it, and I've had it for centuries. Who knew? Nobody told me. not
Right.
even my mother.
Yeah. Yeah. But you discovered it. But like, how did that first experience happen for you? How did you really know that was like your first mediumship,
Okay.
psychic? Yeah.
I think like my first, well, in Suzanne's class, we meditated, but, and then our homework assignment was to go home. So I locked myself in a closet with the lights out so nobody would bother me. And I followed the meditation guide that she gave us. And all of a sudden, I see in my mind, but it's my father's face peeking over at me and some other relatives. And it was immediate. So I said, wow, this is my first time really meditating on my own. And my father came. And then on my first practice meditation, I asked the girl, do you know a guy named Thomas with a white dog? And she said, yes. And I just like fell off the chair. So they want me to do it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
can't even imagine doing anything else for the rest of my long days.
Yeah, I love that. Just on mission, helping grieving families. That must be the most, yeah, grief. I have in the meditation that I follow, Vipassana, we say that death is a promotion. So I have a really beautiful philosophy and perception of death. Yet grief of losing, just friendship or heartbreak or all the thing that I'm very sensitive to the emotion of grief. So like helping heal grief, I imagine is just the most fulfilling
Absolutely.
mission, for people. And
Especially for children, the helping parents heal organization. I
yeah,
did one, show for them or whatever, and I said, okay, this is what I am meant to do as well. So I became certified with them because I can't even imagine anything worse. You lose a husband, it's very sad. I'm very sorry. You lose a child. What can I do to lift you?
mhm, mhm. And I remember in the Next Level Soul podcast, you said if someone loses a child, the best thing that you could do is help other families who've lost a child. It's like giving back. If they have that.
Exactly.
Yes, and I just love that. It's kind of like, and I think back to my late grandmother who she lost her son. Well, my grandparents lost their son, and that's what she would do, to suicide. And she was always there for parents who lost a child to suicide because she knows that pain. Like I can only imagine the pain that she went through, but I don't even have children myself, so I
You
could never.
couldn't, yeah.
So she is the best person, and she really lived that purpose. And so I love talking about my grandmother. She passed recently, a couple months ago, and me and her were so connected. I was so close to my grandmother, and she lived to be 91. She just easily left her body, sitting one day, like beautiful in the sunlight, just beautiful, beautiful way to transition. And I feel and see signs continually. I do a lot of these podcasts now because of it, because I'm receiving
Right.
so many signs from her. And I feel so connected to her. And I love that. And synchronistically, the air date of this episode will be on the birthday of my late grandfather. And I was less close with him, but I still feel connected to, I still want to feel connected, but I feel like I've never received, maybe not never, but I don't receive signs from, let's say, my grandfathers, but I do from my grandmother. Like, why do I receive maybe some signs from some and not from others? Do you have any?
Well, I believe that we have some of our loved ones are closer to us. If they're closer to us in life,
Yeah.
I feel they're all watching, they're all protecting you, they're all there for you. If you just think about them, they'll be right there. But we just have some real special connections with the ones that know we need the help. that are most able to help us. Um, yeah, I had a story I wanted to tell you, but I forgot. It'll come. Um, yeah, so they're all there, and they want us. The thing they want most for us is to have the most joyous rest of our lives. Edgar Casey said, "You didn't. They didn't die. They just went a little ahead of you." It's
Mhm.
how you look at it. You can't change you can't change what happened, but if you can change the way you look at it, it can lift you. It can
Mhm.
lift you, and that's what I try to do in my sessions: is change the way they look at things. I said, right now, if you see this picture with you and your husband and your children, making funny faces, and you're crying, you'll cry. But I promise you, there will be a day where you look at that with your husband and crack up at your son's ridiculous smile with no front teeth. That's how I that's how I explain it. It's going to change, because grief is not here to torture us. It is here to make us realize how much love we have for them, because that is the frequency and the vibration of love that's going to open the path. It's like a Rube Goldberg. If you do this, you're going to get this, and then this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I really like how you touch on how they want us just to live our life joy with so much joy, because I'm always sharing that in the podcast here, like
I know.
to follow your joy. That's such a high vibration. I used to think that love was a very high vibration until I read Hawkins books of the vibration, the energy vibrations, and actually joy is a much higher vibration.
Really? Well, I better change my
Yeah.
website, because
Yeah.
I heard joy is that love is the highest
Yeah.
vibration in the universe. So,
Well, yeah, of course, love is extremely high, but living in joy, which surprised me too. So that's like one of my main coaching questions for anyone. It's like, what brings you joy? And I think that's the way our intuition tells us, where to go next is following our joy. And so, yeah, can you imagine a life where everyone is just living with this lightness and joy?
oh, there would be no war.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, brother, let's have a cup of coffee. We don't need to kill each other.
exactly.
Spirit also, because people wonder how they can help. How, should they have a foundation? What can they do, especially like in suicides and things like that? So I had Spirit tell her son, it'll make you feel better, and have something that give you some a good feeling if you do some community service. She goes, why don't you work at a soup kitchen? And he screamed. He goes, there's a soup kitchen right across the street from me. Okay. So she's just telling me exactly I should just go across the street, do something, and serve somebody else. And I'm going to feel better myself.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they
yeah,
don't
that's
mince
that's
words.
the
Yeah.
antidote. That's the antidote of depression, is not thinking of yourself and helping another. So, yeah, it's I learned this just in entrepreneurship. I had a mentor and he goes, like, how can you be successful? And I was like, I don't know. I was a new entrepreneur, maybe cold calls and marketing and outreach. He's like, sure, that could work, but I don't want to tell you to do something that may or may not work. I want to tell you something that will 100% work. I was like, what is that? And he's really the reason, still an entrepreneur and have companies today, because he really helped me have this huge paradigm shift. He goes, if you as an entrepreneur want to be successful, you have to help other entrepreneurs to be successful. And I was like, what? I can barely, I was a new company. I can barely pay my own bills. He's like, no, you have to worry about helping another person pay their bills. And I really did. And I would help someone else. It was, let's pay it forward. I would concentrate on helping
Right.
else. And then other people would be my biggest cheerleaders and advocates and referrals and all the things. And it's like, oh yeah, it
It's
really does.
exponentially. Everyone's helping everybody, and
Exactly.
everybody, like high tides lift all boats.
Yes, exactly. I just love that. Um, you know, so interestingly, this is kind of changing topics. I don't want to forget about this. Synchronistically, I had this conversation. This is rare. I had a conversation just yesterday with someone who he was sharing about his childhood, some tragic deaths in his family. He watched as a young boy, he watched his father have a heart attack right in front of him, like some tragic things
Right. A
as
lot of
a young child.
trauma.
I called it trauma. Yeah, he doesn't uh, consider it like that. He's like, oh, it's just life. This is life. But for me, I would be traumatized. But what's interesting was he does not have a belief system in the afterlife, in spirit guides, nor he doesn't believe that we have a soul. And I'm always around spirituality. All of my friends and reality and world is spiritual. That's what I love to talk about. But it's like, and so I was sharing with him, like, well, your brother is probably, the one brother who passed, like, and I was trying to go, he's probably in your showing you, but he goes, I don't have faith. And I go, how much faith, how much time did you allow yourself to have faith? I'm like, a year? Did you give yourself a year to kind of open up to signs and synchronicities? He's like, no, I gave him 10 minutes and he didn't perform. And now I just don't have faith
Oh,
anymore.
he's a tough nut to crack, huh?
I know. So it's not about convincing. I found it very fascinating. We spoke for hours yesterday and I found it very fascinating to speak with him. And I'm just like, wow, I think very differently. But how do you maybe, because even you were saying you do readings for skeptics, but I don't know.
Those are the most difficult because doubt makes
Yeah.
drought. If you open up and
Yeah.
you've got somebody with their arms folded
Yeah.
and, well, you could have read that in the paper. Well,
Yeah.
that's a little too broad. This is not, I'm not trying to get on the Olympic podium here. I can't be, don't give me scores for everything I say. And it's just, you can't do your work.
Yeah. Yeah. So not even like, what do you even say to someone who's just like, I don't believe any of that. And my family who's crossed over is not helping me and they're not with me. Like,
Oh
what would
yeah. Oh,
you
I
say?
have people who I have a woman who comes every year. And they test me. I hate that. Mediums do not like to be tested. Okay.
Yeah.
I had a woman say, look, you tell me he's here all the time. And we go through this every year. And I'm not feeling him in the last 6 months. So if he's really around, he needs to tell me what TV show I binged, over the summer. I said, what are there, 50 million TV shows? I said, you know what? I'm going to ask him. And if he wants to answer, he will. So all of a sudden I say, Outlander. She said, that's it. So sometimes spirit wants to help out. And sometimes they say, I am not, I'll tell you what she needs to know, not what she wants to know. So sometimes I will sort of, ask for something that is remarkable or that I can't even believe is coming out of my mouth. And even then, so, it's like you're only good as your last gold nugget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do the best I can. And sometimes I'll just, after like 15 minutes or so, I'll say, you know what, I must be having a bad day. You're never supposed to blame the client, but, between you and me, sometimes. So, and I'll give them somebody else, one of the other great mediums that I know that might be able to get through, but it's not worth it. I do the best I can. And if it's not working, I just step out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not trying to force any of my beliefs on anyone. One thing I love is I love teaching through storytelling. So all I have is my stories and I come on and I just record like really crazy synchronicities and intuitive hits and how that led to there and this and that. And if people, receive inspiration from it, great. And people are naturally attracted to channels and podcasts like this who do believe, but it was fascinating for me because it's like, wow, I rarely do I meet people who don't believe there is a soul.
Right.
Like
That's really deep.
that is fascinating. But yet, like I'm in this inner reflection the last few weeks of like, we're all spiritual beings. So this person I was speaking to is a divine spiritual being, even though they don't believe that he has a soul. Like, it's still like, who am I to say someone's more spiritual than the other just by a few beliefs? But what's your take on that, of our beliefs about spirituality?
Well, the more you believe, the more, you know, TV shows and documentaries and things, the more information you have, the more you believe it. I don't think there's one person who ever had an NDE who said, I'm leaving. I'm going back and I'm getting back in that coal mine and I'm going to, you know, they don't want to go back. They all have the same story. At some point, you have to, like, you have to believe. And the synchronicities, sometimes telling those stories helps people say, put the dots together. So I thought this happened, and then all of a sudden this happened. And because this happened, I got the job. You know what I mean? If I wouldn't have met her at a party that I didn't want to go to, that I was nudged to go to, it's all it's all connected. I think also that spirit picks the people. I know the neurosurgeon, Eben Alexander. Okay. He was a skeptic, pure science, everything by the book, didn't believe in anything until he had a near death experience and went back and could talk about everything and met his sister that he never saw and all of this. And now he's been flying around the world spreading the word, spreading the gospel that he didn't believe it, but it's true. So I just think being open and doing a little, at this point, they said there is so much scientific evidence that your consciousness is eternal, that just goes on and on and on. So it depends.
Yeah, for sure. I
if
know. And
you're
like,
open.
yeah. And even the scientific of like, I like to use the terms karma, but for scientific logical minds, I say cause and effect. It's the same thing. Or quantum physics. Well, I call that like vibrations and energy, or you could call it physics. Like, we're all talking the same thing at the end of the day, and just this specific person I spoke to, he is just the most beautiful energy. And he feels the energy and the vibration of others. And I'm like, well, what's that? How do you define that? And he doesn't have the words for it yet, but it's fascinating to speak to people who are maybe so skeptical, yet they're still just as in tune as humans. We're all in tune to
Right.
energy. And even though we don't even want to give ourselves credit for, so what's interesting is I'm more and more open to, intuition for me is really connecting to my higher self, my
Exactly.
yeah, my higher soul, my, oversoul, whatever you want to call it, the guides, the angels, my ancestors. So I'm feel very connected to my intuition. And now I'm trying to actually learn. I love watching Lee Harris and all the things. And he was explaining, it's based on him. He was saying about these sentence stem prompts to work on channeling your higher self and really, yeah, channeling some more inner wisdom, as he was talking about. So I've been starting to do this recently. And the questions are, soul, what do you want me to know? Or what do you want me to hear? And I just like literally like automatic writing,
Automatic writing.
channel through these divine messages. And it's like, I love that. And well, I'm not a medium. I don't define myself as a medium, but can't I do that with, let's say, my grandmother or anyone who's passed over, my
You
grandfathers?
should be able to. You should, there's so many meditations, it would probably be easier if you went through a guided meditation. I always find that when I'm with somebody that is not really a believer, that I always have to, my daughter always told me, Mom, read the room. Okay. You can't say that. You have to read the room. So I feel like we need to do that with our clients and go from what they're the lowest common denominator of what they know. So that sometimes I tell people, if they're telling me something complicated, talk to me like I'm an 8-year-old. Okay. Because that'll be a lot easier for me. So you just have to find out what their belief system is and then work around that. Because sometimes, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Well, I saw that happen, kind of thing. So they have to want to know it. They just have to. They have to believe it. And then if somebody's in your position where, you probably are a medium, you probably just you don't believe it yet.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
want to, everybody, if you want to change what's going on in your head and your belief system and everything, Dr. Joe Dispenza on YouTube, he changes your brainwaves. He makes you stop the patterns
Yeah.
that keep you from progressing. And that's for mediums and everybody.
Yeah. And again, I really agree with you because I get stuck on labels lately. Like, oh, what's spiritual? What's unspiritual? Who's spiritual? What's mediumship? What's intuitive? What's psychic? What's an intuitive? Like, who cares about all these labels?
Right. It's everyone is an individual and they can do little good at this, it's all there.
Exactly. And it's like if we do this interview a year from now, maybe I'll just be full blown, like declared medium. Who knows what's going to happen in a year from now? But yeah, I'm
Can I
really,
ask you a question?
yeah.
Do you know a man on the other side who used to sometimes wear suspenders and have sort of nice big hands and just be very warm and a big smile? Um, does that remind you of anybody? No.
Not
Okay.
really.
You'll think about it.
Not really. Like,
Big sense of humor, like doing this with suspenders. He may not even have suspenders, but he's just like somebody who's really, and he looks to be, I would say, in his 80s without
yeah,
hair at the top.
without hair on the top.
Well, just some strands. Not he didn't have a full head of hair, is what I'm saying. Nobody? Okay.
Well,
Put it aside.
I'm just super conscious of the day of the airing of this is my late grandfather. So I'm very like thinking of him. But
Doesn't match, it doesn't match, but it'll be somebody. Sometimes I get something and 4 days later, if the guy comes back again, I tell him, and they said, that's my son. So it's always for somebody, maybe somebody
okay.
watching.
Oh, somebody watching. What is there a message that you want to share about that with this?
No, it's just he's just showing up and wanting to smile for them and have them feel the warmth that he felt for them. And I do feel like it was a girl when they spent time together. He was always like that with her.
Precious. I love that. So one of the this podcast is called Awaken to a New Way of Being. So sometimes I just want to shake people and be like, wake up. But like for you, what suggestions would you offer the audience to awaken to a new way of being?
Well, changing how they think about themselves. Instead of somebody waking up like they do every morning saying, oh, I got to go to work today. I've got so many problems. Oh, God, I'm tired already. To wake up and say, today's a fresh new day. Some great things are going to be happening. I love my daughter so much. I just can feel that love. If I start getting down or depressed, I'm just going to feel me, wrestling on the floor with my dog. I'm going to change the patterns that are going on in my head. And you can do that. So that is one way of changing how you feel, because when that starts working, all of a sudden you're going to say, well, that's a little woo-woo, and that worked. So maybe I can go to the next step now. Maybe I'm going to manifest something. Okay. It's all on YouTube. Okay. You can do anything in this spirit world on YouTube. And also just, you can't get away from it. I mean, every few days, somebody's got a UFO in their backyard. How many weather balloons do we send up, really? And all the NDEs that everybody's got the same story. And what's interesting is in movies, even from long ago, there's so much correlation. I mean, people like knew that who you see your family and they help you up, and they it really, they knew what was going on over there. So who told them? Well, nobody talked about being spiritual in those days. 100 years ago, I would have been burned at the stake. So you too. So you wouldn't have gotten out of it either.
No, I know. I love how you name that, because I remember one session I was really like, I'm using my voice in this lifetime. I'm protected. I'm not fearful that I'll be burned at the stake in this lifetime. So I feel like I'm wanting to speak and do a podcast and write books, and because in this lifetime no one can silence me. And yeah, so I'm happy that I know part of my mission. And our mission doesn't, I don't believe, necessarily has to be anything that we do. It can just be our essence. Being is enough. Being a very,
right.
like, a good high vibration, and my essence can be able to heal others. I don't need to do anything per se. But how do you perceive, like, what do you think the mission for the humanity, what is our collective mission? What is like, yeah, what is our greatest mission, do you think?
Well, I know my mission. I don't know. I mean, everyone's mission is different. Well, I just believe that that I'm here to help lift the spirits in both
Mm,
ways of people, and to help them understand that we are all just souls here having a human experience. And even if it's a bad one, I asked somebody, I said, who wants to come down and have cancer? Because everyone is signed off on all the challenges you're going to be going through in this life, because everything is a lesson. Everything is a lesson. So I want to just let people know that you just have to go with it, because when you fight it, when you don't accept it, and are going to just do this and this and just put so much more negative energy into the whole thing, it makes it longer. If you just go with it and say, this is a lesson, I'm going to learn from this lesson, it's gone, you're done, it's done, boom, boom, it's done, on to the next thing. So to put away the fear, I think fear is a major, keeps people where they are stuck. I
mhm.
put away the fear and just try to accept what's happening, because it's in your soul contract. It's in your soul contract. So sometimes people say, I really did sign up for this, I can't imagine. And then they realize, I said, because of what's happening now, you are going to be so much stronger in 6 months, and you are going to get your confidence back that you can go through anything, and you will have learned the lesson and on to the next. So give yourself a little gold star, and say, I got through this.
Mhm.
Oh, one other thing that I feel important about is that everybody should know that all the questions you have about yourself or your future or even your past, you have all that knowledge in your higher self and your soul. It's there. And if you're determined enough and will meditate enough, you can tap into that and get your answers and learn and hear the voices, and know that it's a yes. And should you move to Saskatchewan now, you'll feel it. You'll know it'll be, that's where the intuition comes
Yeah.
from. I feel it's right there in there, and you're pulling it out. And boy, did I get goosebumps on that. So whoever with the suspenders is just giving me a thumbs up on that. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question, but it just came out. So
No, I love that. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm always talking about with intuition. It's our best friend. It just wants the best for us. It sees something. It's like it sees a higher vision of our souls, and it wants us to get there. And we can receive intuition all in different ways. For me, I'm much more clairaudient. So I hear those messages. I hear very distinct, do this, go there, and I follow directions because I trust the universe has my back. And I really, this year, my theme is the word surrender. And it's so nice to live in surrender. It's accepting what is. I make anything I put, any plans or anything, any activities or anything I look forward to, I put in my agenda this year have all been canceled. It's just like, okay, the universe is like, oh, yeah, you want to make a plan? That's not going to happen. You have to work on surrender every single day. And it's scary, but I also it's a fun way to live too by constant trust. I think that was
Right.
a
It's trust
message.
and surrender.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Just let it happen. I have found, or I have heard from the other side, that it's usually free will that gets us in trouble. Like I really feel, I don't know, I shouldn't really do this, but I'm going to do this. Okay. And
Yeah.
then they come back from Las Vegas and they're bankrupt. So free will can be try to stay with the program. Um,
The
and
program.
the program, because they are watching out for us. They are protecting us. And they want to help us. That's all they want. And be sure to ask them. You have to ask or you're not going to get. It's like manifesting.
Right.
So,
Right. No, I always remind people, yeah, they cannot interfere unless we give them
unless we
consent
ask them,
and
they get
permission.
permission.
Yes, yes, I'm really big on that too. And so it's interesting, these words I want to bring up. It's you brought up the word soul contract versus like free will. So yeah, how much are we really I don't know. What's your perception of this? Like, okay, come in, destiny, soul contract versus creating our reality day by day, step by step. Like, how do you explain all of that?
Well, who do you think is helping us? Who do you think is guiding us to do that? I mean, supposedly, because I wasn't conscious at the time, you're doing the soul contract, everybody's involved. You're the angels, the your masters, the council. Everybody works to do a plan that you can understand, that will take away some of the karma or help you learn things that you did not seem to pick up in the last 20 lifetimes. So you got to do it again. Got to do it again. So that and we accept it, and they also give you an opportunity to test drive it. Like if somebody wants cancer because they've never experienced it in all their lifetimes, and they just it can get boring. You want to try new things, and they'll they'll let the person test it out, how it feels to have that so much pain and be so tired. And if they feel they can't hack it, then they can say, all right, we're going to save that one for another lifetime, but for right now, let's remove that. So you get to figure it out while you're up there. And if things are going your way, I believe it's the universe helping you, is putting the little things in your head to do that. And you call it intuition, but where it's coming from.
Yeah.
We live in Alice in Wonderland. If people only knew what went on the other side, they.
You brought up this interesting word of someone wanting to experience cancer, and they're like, "Oh, this, I don't want this." And so, what do you mean by that? That means their cancer is healed in this lifetime?
No, no,
Or,
no. This is before you come down. You get a
okay.
test drive. So
Oh,
while they're with their guides and everyone, while they're working on a plan, he'll say, okay, go over there. You're going to be in the cancer. You're going to feel what it's like to have cancer. So you're going to know what it's like. So in case it's going to be too much for you, we can take it off your contract now before you go down.
really? I never heard of that before. I love that. Okay, so really everything in our life is test driven before
No,
we.
no, no. Some people, say I want 5 children. You don't have to test drive. It's something. It's usually something that you've never experienced. that you think, I'm strong, I can do this, I can take all of this on, because the more I do down on earth, which is like the hellhole of the universe and the
Yeah.
hardest place to go through,
Yeah.
I'm taking off like 50 things of karma. So we'd all do this so that we can expand our soul and
Mm.
evolve, keep evolving. You don't want to
Mm.
be at the lowest part of the food chain forever. Okay. You want to keep moving up, keep
Mhm.
moving up.
And so the best ways to keep moving up would be.
Be of service to others.
Mhm.
That's the golden rule. I don't know what the
Mhm.
real golden rule is, but or speak when you're spoken to or something. What is the golden rule? I don't even remember.
What's your golden rule? That's the most important.
Uh, okay. Good save. Good save. Um, what did I just say it was? I
Being
forgot.
of service. Being of
Being
service.
of service. We need to live a life of service. You'll have
Yeah.
less time. You won't have to go back as often. Okay. And that is what our job is on the other side, to be of service. That's why people who maybe commit suicide, when they're there, they have to help others. So they may be there to welcome people and give them the orientation on taking your life with somebody who's already done that. So we find things that we have a passion for and we give back when we're on the other side. And it's all about being of service.
Yeah. And it's also interesting about how to define being of service, because I think people, I'm overgeneralizing, but maybe want a noble job or some title or whatever. And I'm all about how can you help someone shift their vibration. So I will pass by, let's say, a cashier, and there are some cashiers, they're just like pure love. And you come in, and you're angry and you're buying something, and they say some sweet compliment or they do something, and then your energy shifts, and then you go into the world, and now you can have smile or shift other people's
Exactly.
energy. And I
Let the
feel
car
like,
go in front of you that's been
yes.
honking. It's like it's a chain reaction.
Yeah, so I'm always reminding, like when I'm coaching people, it's like it's not this like, oh, what is my career purpose? Is like, well, I think that cashier could be this enlightened, living on purpose, being of service every single day, having the opportunity to shift so many people's energy in a day. What do you think about that?
I think that sounds beautiful and it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that
Yeah.
because you don't have to be, the CEO of a company
Right.
handing out, this and that to other people. I think it means more when you do it from your heart.
Yeah.
And I've always picked volunteer things that I could roll. I always say I want to roll up my sleeves and get in there. I don't want to just write a check. Just put me in there, okay? Throw me
Yeah.
in,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and you get more out.
And so, what message do people most need to hear right now?
Hmm. Um, Most people who are in grief or who, in a spiritual sense, trust that what happens to you and what's going on in your life, it's not just happenstance. It is a plan. And it does make sense, but you will not understand it until you transition. And then it'll all make sense. So there you go again. Surrender,
Mm-hmm.
trust. You weren't just thrown here, to fall on the ground and figure it all out yourself. You are following a plan.
Mm.
Um, and and just remember that you have control over your joy and
Yeah.
over how you look at the world. Do you know that that 15 minutes of laughter equals 2 hours of restorative sleep? I
Mm.
always tell clients, you guys got to have movie night and play the movie that your son loves so much, and that it can stave off anxiety and depression and boost your immune system, lower your blood pressure. It has so many benefits. So if you're sick, go watch a funny movie. Go put on John Mulaney, on Netflix or something, and 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 let the universe help you. Let them help you. They want to help you, but you got to do your part too and try. I mean,
Mhm.
it's our job to find that joy once someone has passed over, because they're not missing us like we miss them, because they're here, they're around us, they're picking up the
Yeah.
stone that I was going to fall over.
Yeah.
They're busy, so
Oh, I love that. They're working full
they're
time on
working
the
for
show.
us. They're seeing us. They're enjoying everything. They're sitting with the rest of the relatives in chairs watching, their son's movie, the
Yeah.
movie of his life, and they're having popcorn.
Yeah.
They're just so involved.
Yeah.
So you're
I
not
love.
alone. You're never alone.
No, that's the message I love to share. And that's what I love, how the one tool of like, how, for the audience of with this podcast, awaken to a new way of being, you were like literally just wake up happy, wake up like it's a new day. Like we have that choice every day, because
We do.
it's not given. We assume, okay, we're going to wake up tomorrow. But when we go to sleep at night, that is a surrendering to death. We don't know if we're going to wake up. And some people don't wake up. And so, literally waking up, like literally to help you wake up, just wake up in joy.
Just change your mindset. Just
Yeah.
change the tapes that are running. You don't have to
Yeah.
be upset and it's cold out, it's negative. You've got to just look. It's like manifesting your day. You know what I mean? I'm having a great day. I'm gonna have my favorite sandwich. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Make it happen. We can make it happen. And you
Mm-hmm.
can learn how to manifest also on YouTube. It's like one size fits everything you've ever wanted to do in the world.
I know. Infinite wisdom. I know. I feel I'm so attached to my Kindle book because it's like lifetimes of wisdom and knowledge in my hands. And it's just like I become so attached to my Kindle when I travel, or like I can lose my passport, but I cannot lose my Kindle because that's
Well,
my connection to just constant self-improvement,
learning, right.
learning. And it's so funny because yeah, I'm teach yoga, and at the end of every yoga session I have people meditate, reconnect, scan their bodies, really get into the habit of looking in instead of looking out, of like, hey, your body has wisdom, what is it trying to share? But also I have the last line where I say, um how do you want to show up today? And it's like not your to-do list, but what essence do you want to be today? Is it more loving, more patient, more compassionate, whatever? Like the essence is not something you have to do, but helping people live with more intentionality, living with intentions. Because I think we
Mm-hmm.
wake up and it's this wake up and in the morning and struggle and maybe
Right. It's our old
scroll and
tapes just
yes,
playing,
yes, or
and
old
they should not be.
habits. Yes, or in stress, and it's like no, like how do I want to show up in the world today? And just that helps, I'm sure, people to wake up to more joy in their life.
Yes. Just
Mm,
trying to lift their spirits, and,
yeah,
just
yeah,
they can do
yeah.
it. We all
So
can.
how can people find you?
Well, I have a website, bannermedium.com. That was easy. And my email is info@bannermedium.com. And I'm on TikTok and Instagram at Banner Medium 13, and Facebook under Barbra Banner. And any of those will get my attention.
Nice. And so are there any final thoughts that you would like to share to end this episode today?
Well, I was actually, since, I think I've said it already. I think you said it too, that just know that everything you need to know, all the wisdom you want, all the which way to go on something, is you've got the intuition. And if you just throw away suspend the fears and the doubts, and just show up completely open, and meditate. Okay, I can't say that enough. You can grab that. You can tap into that, and all they want to do is help you on the other side. They're there to help you. So meditate.
I love that. I'm just heading into a meditation retreat in a couple days, so I will yeah, be more conscious of connecting to my guides.
You know,
Well, thank you.
a lot of mediums do not know who their guides are. They say, I have absolutely no idea who my guides are, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to know them.
Mm,
They're working. So,
mm.
you know, people shouldn't get um hung up on like the label. You know, I'm talking to my
Yeah.
guide. If you're hearing something, they're talking to you, so you don't have to worry about it.
Good. I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to connecting with you more in the future.
I would love that. I really had I really had a lovely time, and I love what you have to say. And thank you for letting me do this.
Thank you, Barbara.
Okay. Should I just get off right